the first thing, if we go into preferences, it looks different than it used to. The first thing I want you all to know is that we've turned off the House of Worship integration, which all that means is it's not going to bother us about CCLI. The Bible store goes away, well, the Bibles and the store goes away because we don't use those things anyways. So as you can see up here, it turned on the Bible and it added a store, which we don't want to look at because it's not useful to us. Then there's the screens place. So previously when you'd go into preferences, you'd have the screen, like all of the configuration of where your screens go, how they're aligned. No longer. That's up in this screens menu. This just gives you a few of the options, which the one that's key for you is automatically enable screens at launch. That's good for places like mobile sites that are unplugging things all the time, or kids' rooms where they're logging in and out, quitting ProPresenter. So supposedly, according to Renewed Vision, they've fixed the issue where every time you connect and disconnect, it forgets your screen settings. Supposedly, this is supposed to make that happen. I haven't seen it happen, so I don't know if I believe it, but that's that. And then the other important thing, this is, I think I saw Derek asking about this, but this is where you can set your default import settings for media, images, videos, whatever. You can have it set your scale. If you like always want your images to fill your canvas, you can do that there. You can set your default image to import as a background or foreground. You can set your default for videos to be background, foreground, and also for the loop stop function. So instead of having to import all those videos and then go in each one and say, don't loop, you can actually just have it not. And then you can choose what it does at the end and then what it does at the after the end if you want it to do something next or not at all. Okay, that's preferences, but then let's talk about, and then the other thing is, this is where you can do all your label editing if you want to, color, your hotkeys, slide labels, what have you. And then the other piece that sometimes we have to work on is screens. So this is another place where you can disable or enable the screens, change the layouts, edit the layouts and looks. But the way to configure it is in this configure screens option. So the way that they've set this up is audience is your main output, which used to be just called output. Now it's called audience. And then your stage. This is where you can do that. So Pro 7 allows us to have as many outputs as our computers can handle. And so the other thing is it can have placeholders, which is what we're doing right now, or I'm doing actual NDI outputs. But to create a new one, it's just this plus button, and then it gives you all these options. So placeholder, boom, now I've got another screen. The reason I wanted to show you this NDI output is because this is the most similar to what your SDI outputs are. And the way that if Pro isn't outputting and you need to check the alpha setting, it's just right here, alpha key, enable. And that's it, enable, disable. And then it will also show you your output hardware. So if you're not selected on the Blackmagic, it'll tell you right there. Yep, and then the same thing for your stage display. It's the same idea. Stage displays don't have alpha outputs because they're stage displays. And then you can also enable or disable those from here. So if I click this button and you look up here in the signal, you can see that it's changing there. Well, if I click it, there we go. And then it also has identifying your screens. So it's now identifying this, and it's just going to stay on until you turn it off. So if you identify it and leave it on, it's going to output over whatever you're outputting. Okay, that is preferences, and that's everything.